Hi, this video is about the pluralized I and identification. So you've probably come across these two terms, especially if you've read the works of Gurdjieff or Ouspensky, or if you've read the works of the contemporary Gnostic writer Samael Aoun-Vuor. These two terms, the pluralized I and identification, refer to our psychology. Everybody has an identity, and that identity is what we call I. Not I as in our eyeball, but I as in I am. So over the course of our life, we have to find who we are, and a lot of life is about searching for and finding our identity. But what we're really interested in is finding our true, authentic, immutable identity. And it's quite difficult to verify on the spot, even within a week, within a month, even within a couple of years. It does take a lot of time, a lot of practice, and a lot of effort. But I'm just going to state it straight off the bat here, is that our identity, our true identity, or what we really are, is what we could call awareness or consciousness. So I want to say that we are not our name, neither are we our body, neither are we our mind, neither are we our nationality, our family lineage, our traditions, our religion, our culture, our customs, our habits, etc, etc, etc. Our date of birth, our star sign, our social class, our particular style, our way of dressing, our way of speaking, our way of thinking, our way of expressing ourselves. Those are all like the outside aspect of ourselves, the external aspect. But at our very core, what are we? And the answer is, which I hope you will find, maybe you know already, but it is awareness. If you strip all those things away, name, nationality, birth date, star sign, social class, clothes, nationality, religion, tradition, family lineage, history, etc., what do you find? And all you find is some sort of cognizance, some sort of consciousness, some sort of self-awareness, something that says, I exist, I am living, I am alive, I breathe. Something that answers the question or bounces the question back to us when we ask the question, who am I? Something that can feel that you're alive, feel that you're there. That's consciousness. So that's what we really are. That is our true identity. However, we are not that true identity all the time. If we were, our life and the world would be totally different. The problem is we have the pluralized I. And this is very, very easy to verify. We are a different person even within an hour. We can be several different people within an hour. The thing is, within our psychology, unfortunately our psychology is fragmented into various I's or egos. Now, for example, just when you're alone, the thoughts that pass through our minds, all of a sudden we want to eat, we're bored, and we want to seek out somebody of the opposite sex, we want to travel, when we get angry about the past, we get angry about remembering somebody, we feel hurt, we feel depressed, we feel low. We're so many different people in the space of 1 hour. Even when our environment changes, we can become different people. We're a different person at work, a different person when we go out with our friends, we're a different person when we play sport, we're a different person when we're alone with our parents, etc, etc, etc. Now, we're never the same person. It's so easy to see. It's really easy to see in that of the broken promises. And one day we make a solid commitment, thinking that we are one whole person, that we will certainly carry through with our promise. But when the time comes, it happens that we feel in a totally different way. We think and we feel in a totally different way. And even we say to ourselves, gosh, what was I thinking? Who was I when I made that promise or that commitment? I was crazy. I was out of my mind. But if we go back to that moment when we made the promise, we were so solidly convinced that we were one person and we would carry that out. And true, if we were one person, we would feel in the same way and think in the same way about it all the time. The truth is, we're not one person, we're many different identities. Because we have what we call the pluralized I, or the many egos. So okay, we do have these many egos, these many I's, and but really what the big problem is, where the crux of the matter is that we identify with each of those I's. We assume the identity that each of those I's projects onto us. Each I or ego is like a real person. It thinks, it feels, and it acts through us, using our body, using our human machine. It projects its thoughts into our intellect. From within the subconscious, it projects its thoughts into our intellect, into our mind, and those thoughts produce feelings, and those feelings produce actions. So the ego controls us. For example, because of these egos, we're so predictable, so easily controlled. The egos are what react in us. Actually, mechanically react. We're insulted. Someone says, tells us a few harsh words, and mechanically, predictably, 100%, guaranteed, we're going to react perhaps with anger, with a sarcastic comment, with an ironic comment. We'll counteract, or we'll feel, sad and lonely and upset within us. And then we'll take on this persona of an angry person, a vindictive person, a person who's out to prove others wrong and prove himself right, a person who feels useless or sad or upset. And we adopt that identity, we assume that identity. If we were just to remember who we are, the consciousness, the awareness which doesn't have any identity, we wouldn't put on the hat of anger, the hat of pride, the hat of self-love or self-pity, wounded self-compassion, etc., etc. It would be totally different. We would give a conscious response or conscious answer to the various events and impressions of life. So really the problem is identification. We assume the various identities which are living within us, are living within our psychology. So that's why later on, it's really necessary to dissolve each and one of those egos, each and one of those identities, so that we're just left with pure consciousness, which is what authentically and really and truly we are. Naturally we are that. So it's to come back to our true nature. Okay, so no identification is about that. It is when we identify with something, we become the same as it. When we have anger in us, and we assume the beliefs of anger, that people are against us, that I have to show force to solve the situation, to get my way, or to protect someone, then we become the same as, we adopt the same value as anger. We become anger. Then we say, I am angry, I am proud, I am lustful, I am lazy, etc. Because we become one with that defect within us. We become one with that I within us. And how we got those I's, well, it's a long story, but we've created them and we've strengthened them over the many years. We've learned them from others, imitated them, etc. Imitated others and their egos to create the same within us. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is the pluralized I and identification. Really, we're in a good position to not identify with our egos when we've discovered our true identity, who we truly are. And that truth is that we are awareness or consciousness. And when you know yourself as that, you can not identify with the various egos that pop up in us. I'd just like to end this video by saying something, a Zen saying, just to show us how the ego is not part of our nature. So a monk approaches his master and says, "Master, I have an ungovernable anger. I cannot control it." Then the master says to him, "Okay, show it to me." And the monk couldn't show his anger, just couldn't get angry in front of the master. So then the master replied, seeing that he couldn't show his anger, he said, "So, because you can't show it, it is not a part of your nature. You can only show what is you, what is a part of your nature." So that's very, very true. I can only show you what I naturally am, or what I am. I can't get angry now because that ego or I of anger hasn't been provoked. It needs a trigger point. And then if it gets a trigger point from the external environment or from a thought, I remember something from the past, then anger comes from the subconscious, on the outskirts of my psychology, wanting me to identify with it. As soon as I identify with it, I become the same as it, I believe in it, I adopt its value, and then I will be angry, then I will be anger. But if I don't go with it, I don't believe in its protests, its point of view, its injustice, etc., etc., then I won't become anger. I'll be feeling it, I'll be feeling that agitation, that bubbling feeling that anger wants to appear, but I'll be able to keep it at bay. So we can only show, what is ours. Because I don't have anger in me now, I can't show it, and that means it's not a part of my nature. It's not who I really am, and it's not who you really are either. You are not your anger, your lust, your pride, your laziness, your fear, your greed, your ambition, your gluttony, etc., etc. You are not any of those things. You are awareness. So you can only show what is in your nature, what is truly you. Okay, so just the last thing before I end this video, so many people, when they know a person well and they see the person angry or acting in a strange way, they say, "That's not you, you're not like that." And that's true, that by nature they're not like that. They just have an ego in them which they've created in the past, perhaps through rather strange circumstances or traumatic circumstances. And then they act out, they identify with that value that comes from the subconscious, and then they act it out, and they're a totally different person, all because of identification. Okay, thanks. I hope this video has shed some light on this subject, and I hope it has been useful. Thank you.